So it's crazy, as you grow up, you don't realize like the Christmas traditions that you have as a family are like your traditions. So throughout this holiday season, I've been kind of like asking different friends what their traditions are, and then also as they now have kids and they're creating their own families, getting married, etc., like what traditions are they gonna continue to keep for themselves? So I thought I'd FaceTime them and hear some of their responses. Where are you off? Perfect, you're there too. So I got a question. What are some traditions that you grew up having? What are some of the traditions now that you have kids that you keep doing?
My big tradition was really going over to my grandparents, because my mom was a single mom. So we would go over to my grandparents' house. It was my grandpa, my grandma Anna, and Christmas Eve we'd go over there every year. And it would be them, my uncles, my aunts, my cousins, probably like maybe 10 of us, 15 of us, not a whole lot. And we would do that every Christmas Eve, so that way, as like the smaller family units, we could do our Christmases.
On Christmas Day?
On Christmas Day, yeah.
So I have like a few different evolutions, because when my sister and I were first growing up, my parents would put stockings out for us, basically to get us not to wake them up. So
were stockings from them or from Santa?
You know, I don't actually know where the evolution happened of like, hey, I am trying to be on a vlog here. I just know that we went from bug them very early in the morning to them realizing, what if we put stockings on their doorknobs and then they can just be with each other doing the stockings. And then we would always do Christmas breakfast, and then we would do all the present opening.
Like, okay, where do you stand on stockings?
We definitely do stockings.
What was it as a kid, and then what is it now as a father yourself?
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, it was definitely, the stockings were like the last. They were the last open for us, because we were like, typically the stockings had like the little, you know, a gift card or a specific financial denomination that I was always like, yes, give me the money.
But we always did our stockings first. That's always what we do. We get Christmas PJs every year, and then we always open up the stockings, and then once everybody's done with the stockings, then you can open up the gifts.
Stockings for us was last, because then we could be like, okay, good, we made it through like the main gifts, and like these are the, you know, the sentimental ones, and the ones that are supposed to mean a lot. And then you don't have to pay as much attention to the person who's opening a bunch of stockings.
We never really did stockings.
Like in general, like stockings weren't a thing in your family?
Maybe like once or twice, but not really. That was like something that like I started doing when I was with Amika. Like we always did stockings, but it was like fine, and if we didn't do it, I didn't care.
You know, for me, I was always like, the stocking is where it's at. This is where it's at.
One thing we've always done is we get Christmas jammies on Christmas Eve, and I always love that. We get to open them and wear them Christmas Eve and all Christmas Day, and I'm gonna keep doing that.
We would always go to my grandma's, and then we would like have a Christmas Eve dinner
at your grandma's.
Yeah, and there would be all this like food and shit. We'd hang out with all our family, and then we would always like all the cookies that we bake. Because like my grandma and my grandma's like family have like all these like recipes that have been for like 100 years or whatever. We would always take one of the cookies and like put it out for Santa and like write a note and be dear Santa, thanks for right. Yeah. And that was I forgot about that, but that was when I was like younger.
I would always wake up at like 3 in the morning to see what Santa brought. I'd be like, oh my god, this is all this amazing stuff. It's so exciting. Santa's very big in our household still to this day. Like Santa's very real in our household.
I would agree with you on that.
We did do one present on Christmas Eve. That was a tradition for a long time.
What about Christmas morning? Like what was Christmas morning like growing up?
It was like you always wake up and it's like time to open the fucking presents.
Growing up, my Christmas tradition was basically don't wake up my parents Christmas morning. There wasn't really like a stable tradition that was built. I think growing up, my traditions kind of came as an adult. Having kids now, my tradition is like Christmas Eve we bake cookies. You know, and sometimes it's like a cookie decorating party. Let's do gingerbreads, and let's do sugar cookies, and let's do chocolate chip, and let's decorate them, and then, you know, set out the milk and cookies at night. You know, then the kids go to bed and they wake up Christmas morning, and, you know, I fully am expecting to be woken up by my 6-year-old being like, Santa came!
Fun thing about building a family is allowing traditions to manifest organically, like based on what our what Alyssa and I love, and whoever we have as kids, like whether it's a boy or a girl, one kid or two, all of those things I think will slightly affect what just sort of grows into a tradition.
I like to do like a Christmas Eve dinner.
Okay.
Even if informal. Like last night, me and a couple buddies went to like Buffalo Wild Wings and shit. It's more like the ceremony than anything. It's not like it has to be Christmassy, but it's like, okay, we're gonna go do like a dinner. Like I think a couple years ago, me and like Mimika and Danny and her brother and John and Harley and I don't know, remember who else went. We went to like some Chinese place in downtown LA because it was like the only place open, and it was like super not Christmassy at all. But it was just the fact that like we were all there.
Christmas for Brighton and Jensen is 4 Christmases. One, it's our family, just Aaron, me, Jensen, and Brighton. The second one is with Aaron's dad's family, which happens in the morning of Christmas from like 9 to 12. And then from 12:30 to 3:30 is Aaron's mom's side of the family. And then it's my mom's side from like 4 o'clock until 9 o'clock.
Are you driving to all of these?
Luckily, no, not anymore. The only one we drive to is my mom's. Everyone else comes to our house.
I definitely want to do gingerbread house decorating and cookie decorating every year, which I didn't do as a kid necessarily every year.
Snowball fights if there's enough snow in Nashville.
Probably, you know, like a movie. Like I've done that before with family. You know, the Christmas Day movie is always really nice because you don't have any real commitments other than just like spending time together.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of thing, you know. And if I was in a cold climate, I would definitely like want to do like outdoor snow activities if there's snow, of course. That's always the big wild card.
Brighton has the elf on a shelf, and she gave it a name, and that is a wonderful experience. She's done some pranks, but she's very loving and loyal, and she writes messages to Brighton and has letters to her, and I'll find Brighton in her room just talking to the elf like no one else is there, just full conversation with her elf. It's really adorable.
Jen?
I like doing Christmas Eve dinner really fancy. We all get dressed up and do like a whole thing.
Literally after Thanksgiving, I go and I buy a tree. Like the day after, I get my Christmas tree, whether it be for my office or for my home. I have to buy a real life Christmas tree the day after Thanksgiving, somehow, some way, whether it's for me or someone else. It's got to be done.
That's awesome.
And I mean, now I think it's mostly just making sure we see everybody. The whole family sees each other as much as possible. I was actually talking to Alyssa about this the other day. One of the things that I'm really excited about this year and the coming years is, and you know about this, the Isham Christmas parties are legendary. And then there's other like Christmas dinners and things with other friends and families that happen, 2 days before or the day after or things like that. So what we were talking about is how excited we are to not just have our core family traditions, but put in our extended family traditions of like the people that we do something with for the holidays every year, just because they are part of the family, blood or not.
Real family time is really kind of what it's about to me. So
Well, that's it. This video is about all the different people's traditions and how they're all similar yet all have their fun nuances. Love you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I'll see you later.
Bye.